Hello, hello. My name is Becca. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're actually reviewing a movie, so that'll be different. It was actually Toad's request that we watch a scary movie because it is that time of year. And if you're not familiar and you don't know me, which a lot of you don't, my favorite time of year is fall. And my favorite holiday is Halloween, if you couldn't tell by the background. So today, I'm going to watch a scary movie. And ironically, Toad requested this, but now he's too scared. So he's not here to actually review the movie with me. But that's okay. He's a little scaredy cat sometimes, but it's okay. I understand. Horror movies are not for everyone. So today it'll just be me, and I will be reviewing the movie Freddy vs. Jason from 2003. I've actually never seen this movie in particular. Now, I've seen Friday the 13th, which I will do a little bit of a recap on because obviously that is important to this storyline. And then I've also seen Nightmare on Elm Street, so I'll do a little recap of that movie because obviously Freddy's in this. So we got Freddy and Jason. So yeah, we're gonna do a little recap on the other two movies, and then I'll kind of walk you through my first experience watching Freddy vs. Jason. It'll be fun. I'm excited to get into it. Happy spooky season, everybody. So let's do a little bit of a recap first of Friday the 13th. So Friday the 13th came out in 1980, and it's known as one of the horror classics, if you didn't know. And basically the premise is based around a summer camp. It's called Camp Crystal Lake because in 1957 there was a boy that presumably drowned in this lake at this camp. So basically the movie is about, it's like a slasher film, and it follows a group of teenage camp counselors at this camp. It's not really a spoiler because that's the kind of movie people get, attacked and hurt, and some people get, killed in this movie. So it's like a slasher, you know how it goes. And then later, basically in the movie, Mrs. Voorhees, who is, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, is the boy who supposedly drowned in the lake's mother. Jason Voorhees, it's his mother. So basically she reveals that her son Jason drowned in 1957, and she basically blames like the counselors for it because I guess they were engaged in something else they shouldn't have been doing, so they weren't watching him, they weren't like doing the lifeguard duty, so she basically blames them. So basically that's pretty much what ensues. Like, I mean, I don't want to spoil everything, so spoiler alerts on all this, but the mother of Jason, it is revealed at the end of the movie, so spoiler on that she was upset about the counselors not being there when everything happened, and she basically blames them and then comes back and starts, it's revealed that she's the killer. So she starts killing people because she's fed up that her son drowned, and and it's obviously hard for her, so she's coming back and doing something crazy. So it's revealed that she's been murdering people this entire movie. So basically that's, at the end of the movie, Jason's, I guess, corpse, reaches out from the lake and drags her underwater, the mother, and then she awakens at the hospital, and basically when she wakes up in the hospital, the police sergeant is there and the medical staff, and they're like, hey, there's no sign of the boy at the lake. And then Alice is one of the counselors, and she basically says that he's still there. Jason is not really in the first movie. He's in flashbacks with the mom, but he's not actually the killer in that one. But he goes on, spoiler alert, in the other movies to become the main antagonist, the main murderer in the movies. So I guess he takes after his mom in that way, and it's not really ever revealed like if he was actually like still alive or if he was like some sort of like Michael Myers situation where it's like they start saying that they're like some kind of mythical like demon or something. So I'm not entirely sure on that part, but basically that's just to give you like a rundown of kind of what that movie was about. And then Nightmare on Elm Street, it came out in 1984, the first one. And as just like a summary, this is another slasher film. So it's another group of teenagers, and they're targeted by Freddy Krueger, who is obviously he's the main antagonist. And like they're calling him an undead child killer, so he basically murders people through their dreams. So like they fall asleep and then he goes, it's like a nightmare. He like literally attacks them in their dreams, and they somehow, it correlates to real life, and he can hurt them, he can kill them, he can do whatever. And so these kids just, they don't want to fall asleep. Like that's a big premise of it. Like they're like scared to fall asleep because they're like, if we fall asleep, like he's going to find us, he's going to get us. And then people start to think like they're crazy because, you're like saying that you're having these nightmares. They're like, there's no way it could correlate in real life, but that's part of it. And then it's later revealed in the movie that Krueger was basically, when he was alive, I guess, because now he's undead, he was a child murderer, so it's pretty messed up, but he killed 20 children, but then he was released on a technicality, and he was burned alive by the victim's parents after that, which I can't entirely blame them for that, because that's crazy. And basically, he's a vengeful ghost, is what they're calling him. So the whole movie is just about him, coming for them, and kind of similar to Friday the 13th, but just like a different setting and a little bit of a different story. So I hope that gives you like a little bit of an idea of like the two main antagonist villains that we're dealing with, murderers that we're dealing with here. And now we'll get into the actual review of Freddy vs. Jason from 2003. This movie starts out with Freddy Krueger narrating, and he's narrating it himself, and he is talking about how he invades dreams and basically recapping, Nightmare on Elm Street, the first movie, just to give people an idea, I guess, if they hadn't seen it. So it just kind of gives a premise on that, a little recap on that. And then it basically starts out after that of a woman, and I think she's like in her 20s or something. I'm not entirely sure. But she's basically swimming in the lake at night by herself, but she's like, it's implied that she's like waiting for her boyfriend to come with her. And then we see Jason come, because I'm assuming where she was swimming was Camp Crystal Lake. Not entirely sure, but it was definitely a lake of some sort. So then she gets stabbed by Jason. He chases her, he stabs her, and then it goes right into like a scene with Jason and his mom, who obviously was in the first movie and she was the main villain, so kind of goes into that. But apparently, like, during this time, it's a little like trippy, because apparently during this time he was not awake, like, for whatever just happened. So like he's just kind of dreaming about this, and his mom telling him to go to Elm Street. So basically, like, it turns into this like dream, and he's like his mom is approaching him and saying, hey, you have to go to Elm Street, like you have to go, like it's like a mission. She's like, you have to go do this, basically. But then he realizes that it's not actually his mom. So you know how Freddy can go into the dreams, he can, go and hurt you in your dreams, he can manipulate your mind and do certain scenarios, he can set up a scene for you. So it's revealed that it's actually Freddy doing this. It's not his mom, but it is, it is Freddy, and he's saying, yo, like, basically, I need your help. So basically, he's trying to team up with Jason. He's like, I know you're another crazy, murderer, crazy villain. So he's like, oh, I need your help. Come team up with me, basically. So then they basically show the name of the movie, and it goes into a scene with a few 20-something age ranged women, and it's kind of funny because unexpectedly Kelly Rowland is in this movie, crazy, So she's in this, and she is one of these women at the house there. So the name of the three girls in the movie, the main actress or protagonist is Lori Campbell. So it's taking place at her house, this first scene. And then we also have Kelly Rowland, who is in the actual movie. Her name is Kia Watterson. And then we also have another woman named Gib Smith. So these ladies are hanging out. One of the women, Gib, her name is Gib. For whatever reason, I've never really heard that name. Have you guys heard that name before? Gib is smoking a cigarette inside for, I don't know why she's smoking it inside the house, but I guess it was 20-something years ago, so it was a different time. But basically she is smoking, and then she throws the cigarette out the window, and it hits Jason. He's just outside, but she doesn't see him. He's just lingering outside, just for the fright of it all, just hanging out, So I guess he made it to Elm Street. And these three women, they have two guys over to the house. And the one guy is a douchebag, in my opinion. I don't think he's a nice guy. The other guy's, he's alright. Kia and Lori end up having a side conversation, and they're just talking about, it's kind of gets to know the characters a little bit. So Lori just got over this big breakup, I guess, with her first love or something. So she is heartbroken, and she's having trouble moving forward and dating again. And Kia's basically hey, you should try to date. You should open yourself back up to that. Just consider dating at least. So she's trying to give her friend some advice. And then basically the one guy that's a piece of crap, I literally wrote that. He basically, he's very demanding and just of this. So apparently him and Gib are, I guess together or casually together, I don't really know. But he's just very demanding of her, and making her come upstairs with him, and basically saying weird stuff don't make me tell you to come upstairs again. No, you're not gonna talk to me like that. But I think the premise is we don't want to like this guy, because I definitely don't. But anyway, the other guy is in the kitchen, and he's basically getting drinks for the other two girls. Lori and Kia are downstairs, and the couple's upstairs. And he's basically just getting drinks for the girls to hang out with them. And he notices, while he's in the kitchen making the drinks, that the back door is open. And he thought that was kind of suspicious. So then it flashes to the couple upstairs, and I guess they did whatever they were going to do in there. But then he won't even cuddle with this girl, Gib. So I'm he's just a douchebag all around. Basically, out of nowhere, the guy is stabbed to death by Jason, and then the bed gets folded. It folds in half and crushes him. This Gib was in the bathroom, and she comes out, and he's just in the bed, and she's freaking out, obviously. And so the rest of them are obviously freaked out. They run out of the house. They're trying to call the police. They're freaked out. And they don't know who did it because they can't find anybody. And this like, and then it's revealed that they are on Elm Street, which I kind of figured, you know, so makes sense. Okay, so then it's revealed, obviously, like I said, that they live on Elm Street, and next scene we get into is Lori, and she's at the police station, and basically the police, like, I feel like they're, like, trying to hide this, but they are suspecting Freddy because he's long been, you know, like a villain and somebody that's causing a lot of problems for Elm Street. So they first are suspecting him, but they don't want to, they don't want to, I guess, upset people. They don't want to cause a stir. So they're kind of trying to keep it hidden, but you hear their conversations and they know, like, hey, this is probably Freddy. Like, it has to be. But it's been a while since, I guess, he's been back there, so, like, they're a little, like, they think that people will really be freaked out because they think, like, he's not coming back for, like, he hasn't been back for a while. But if they hear that he's back, people will start, it'll be chaotic, you know. So the police are trying to, like, hide that, and they start taking over, you know, investigating this death that happened, and then Lori is at the police station, and she is sitting there, and she remembers the name Freddy. Like, she recognizes the name Freddy. Like, she starts thinking, like, it just comes to her. And then you realize that she is not at the police station. She's actually sleeping. She's actually in a nightmare. And she sees a young girl. Like, she's walking around. She sees a young girl, and the young girl's eyes are not there, and they're blacked out, and she's saying creepy stuff, and she's talking about Freddy coming back in, like, a demonic voice. So she's freaking her out, and, you know, this is all part of her nightmare. And then Freddy jump scares her, like, in this nightmare, and then she wakes up at the police station. So she had fallen asleep, I guess, at the police station, and this nightmare ensued. So this other guy, the one that didn't get killed, that was at the house, is being lectured by his dad, since he, like, wasn't supposed to go out that night, I guess. Like, he was supposed to watch his younger sister, so he, like, wasn't supposed to be there, like, at that house with Lori and the girls. So his dad's, like, lecturing him, basically, and, like, saying, like, you know, like, why would you do that? Like, you're supposed to be watching your sister. So he's, like, mad at him. Even though, like, something, like, awful just happened, you know, to his friend. Like, I don't know. So, like, his dad's, like, all pissed at him. And then he basically pushes back and asks his dad to give him a break because I guess the guy that died was, like, his best friend. So it's like, come on, bro. Like, his best friend just died, and you're going to sit here and bring up, like, you know, that he wasn't there with his sister. Like, I don't know how old she is, so, like, I guess if she's really young, it could be a big problem, but, like, I just feel like it wasn't the time. Like, obviously, I'm sure the sister's fine at this point, so they kind of know, but, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, not really the time, Dad. It's not the time. So, I can understand where he's coming from. He, like, pushes back on his dad. Like, hey, cut me a break, basically. But, like, I'm thinking to myself, because, like, his best friend sucked anyway. Like, he was not a good guy. He was a douche or a jerk to that girl, Gib. And then he was probably not a good friend to him either. So it's like, I mean, karma, you know. Karma happens sometimes. So anyway, this guy that was talking to his dad, he dreams about Freddy, and then Freddy basically, like, explains that Jason's gonna handle this killing because Freddy's not strong enough yet. So I guess, like, Freddy has to get stronger first before he can, like, kill people in real life. Like, because he's just kind of messing with them in nightmares right now. So I guess he needs to, like, work up his strength. And he's using Jason in the meantime to, like, help him out. So this guy wakes up from his dream that he's having about Freddy and Jason, and, you know, how Jason's gonna be taking care of this or whatever. And he wakes up to find that his dad's been killed. So I guess Jason was there. And then he sees Jason behind him. So, a little scary. And then it flashes to an institution, so like a mental institution. And there are 20-somethings that are there, which I spent a lot of this movie thinking that these were 20-somethings. And then later in the movie, I realized that they're actually teenagers, because they were in high school at one point in this movie. And I was like thinking like the whole time that they were 20-somethings. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I don't know. I guess they just cast like actors that looked older. So, I don't know. But I spent a lot of the movie like thinking like these were like 20-somethings and then like early 20s, you know. But apparently they were teenagers. So, guess I found out something new. But anyway, it flashes to an institution where these teenagers, because they're not 20-somethings, there's these two guys, and there's this guy, Will, and his name is Will Rollins. And then his friend, Mark Davis, is there with him. And they're like best friends, but the reason that they're in this mental place, the institution, is because they were having nightmares. It's revealed later that they were having nightmares about Freddy. So they, like, people thought they were going crazy because they're having these nightmares. They didn't want to sleep, you know, and I guess they felt like safe in the institution. Like maybe they felt safer there. But yeah, so they're all around the same age, these people. They're all in high school, I guess. Not 20-somethings. But they basically, these two are talking, and then they decide to, so they hear like murmurings that there was like a murder at Lori's house, and they're like, I guess it's implied that Will is her ex that she's trying to get over. So he's worried about her, and he basically wants to break out of the mental facility so that he can make sure she's okay. So him and his friend Mark, they break out of the institution, and then it cuts to a scene with Lori. So Lori is really tired because she's trying not to sleep, because now she's starting to have these nightmares about Freddy, and she's freaked out, obviously. And her dad is like trying to help her, and it's like a little bit implied that like he might be trying to drug her, and he's also like a doctor, so like I don't know if like he's trying to prescribe her something, or if he's like, I don't know, he gives me weird vibes. But he, like, it's implied that he's trying to like drug her or something, just to like, I guess, help her like sleep, maybe, I'm not sure. But she basically like refuses to sleep because of the nightmares. And we find out that the other guy, whose dad got killed by Jason, his name was Blake, he also got killed. Like, they found this out. Like, Lori finds this out. So then it flashes to the girls, and they're at school. They're at high school. And this is where I found out that they're in high school, because I really thought they were in college this entire time, at least in college. Anyway, I guess they're in high school. And Lori starts talking about her dreams about, you know, Freddy and what's going on with that. And then Mark, Will's friend, walks into the high school, who just escaped the institution, walks into the high school, and then starts talking to her about Freddy too, because he can understand, because obviously he's also had the same nightmares, so he's talking to her about it. And they're talking, like they're understanding each other.